The tides are about to turn. Hello One Piece enthusiasts, I'm the One Piece nerd, and today let's talk about One Piece chapter 1093. Well, couple of days, chapter's been out, let's put my thoughts all together. To be completely honest, my opinion does not differ from what I said before, and it's going to stay consistent overall through this entire arc until something big changes. There are a few things in this chapter that I definitely want to mention, and a few more things within those topics that I want to expand upon in future videos. But for now, let's just analyze what happened. Before we move on, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. Now that you have, let's begin. Well, we get back to our fight with Luffy and KIZARU, and in fact, I just want to say, I took KIZARU lightly. I took KIZARU very, very lightly from what he actually has been showing thus far. I always thought that Luffy was going to have an easier time than this. I mean, what was I thinking? Like, what? Luffy's gonna show up, KIZARU's gonna show up, they're gonna do some clashes here and there. Luffy's gonna overwhelm him with Gear 5 and, well, he wins? I was so naive, but yeah, I've learned my mistakes. And yeah, it's totally stupid of me to think that, the Admirals would be easy to deal with, even though KIZARU probably isn't even the strongest admiral. So, with all that being said, with the way things are with KIZARU, he's very different. His powers are very different from what Luffy has faced thus far, because so far we've been dealing with people of either Paramecia or Zones. We've never seen Luffy fight against a proper strong Logia user. I don't count Caesar, by the way. Caesar is not a okay, dude. Like, Caesar, when you think of him as, the one Logia user Luffy has faced, that too, when he just started post-time skip, I'd like to think it's a very weak opponent. And we haven't even met the mid-tier Logia user that actually, does ridiculous stuff. Along the lines of, I don't know, maybe Ace or Smoker, who, even Smoker at this point doesn't seem to be a strong Logia user, and finally we're up against a Logia user that's actually insanely smart and insanely strong. This guy, we don't know how long he's been having, he has his Logia fruit. It's one of the fastest Logia fruits around. In fact, it's strong enough to basically make Vegapunk use that model to basically install them into robots that will be used as weapons with the world government. So yeah, it's insanely difficult for Luffy to handle a situation like this because he's never actually faced Logia users. Of course, considering it's Luffy, he is a battle strategy master and he will come up with something on spot. But the fact that Luffy's still bothered by KIZARU having such a weird power, and in fact we don't even know what the properties of it are. For Doflamingo, he used threads as literally knives, smaller knives, or in fact sharp objects. That's basically what the fruit was used for. Against Kaido had forms, he had blast breaths and whatnot. Kaido was just brutally strong. KIZARU isn't brutally strong. He's just smart, fast, and insanely complicated. So for Luffy to figure out or get back his momentum, I think this would take a very long time. And that's not even the only problem. Problems being the Seraphims are now under control of the world government, and they're now trying to attack the Vegapunks or whatnot. So this is probably going to go for the worst, if anything. And with the Vegapunks finally getting back the control, but you gotta remember in the last panel we've seen Sanjay Garcia, who's the only person amongst everyone else who has the authority to change back what the Seraphims can do. Not the Seraphim, but rather the Pacifistas or whatever. So this is gonna be insanely hard. Because yeah, we are seeing a back and forth between the control of the Seraphims as well as the Pacifistas. Once we get the Marines under control of them and the Vegapunks, and there's gonna be back and forth. Ultimately, we already knew with Sanjay Garcia being there is that the world government would have control of the Pacifistas no matter what. This was a given. Now, one theory by Joyboy Theorist, which I really enjoyed, is that maybe the way to overcome this is for Bonnie to basically awaken something within the pacifistas because they have the lineage factor of Kuma. We've seen the human sides of the cyborgs that Vegapunk made. We've seen Boa Hancock have attributes of Boa Hancock, the original one, and she fell for Luffy. I like that idea. It's basically a Conqueror Zaki but with emotions rather than willpower. That's sort of interesting as a concept. I would like to see that come into play. With that being said, let's just go back to Kizaru and Luffy for a second. This fight, Luffy isn't as fast as Kizaru. He is strong. Luffy is creative, he is strong, he has the freedom, but he doesn't have the speed that Kizaru has. In fact, Luffy got tricked this time around as well. And this is the second confrontation Usopp has with Kizaru because Luffy was too occupied dealing with the Kagebushi no Jutsu of Kizaru. So, like, what can I say? I'm saying this is going to be a hard fight. I don't see Luffy overcoming this very easily, and not to mention, at this point, I am also starting to think that, yeah, we're going to see the Gorosei in action. We're going to see Saturn fighting because we know they have powers from what we saw with Sabo and whatever. So Kizaru's not even the final opponent, and with Luffy's probably getting warmed out with Kizaru fighting at full power, and I don't think Kizaru's showing his all because of the way how lax he is. But Luffy, on the other hand, does not waste any time and he's going to Gear 5 and doing as much as he can. The Goofy shenanigans, I'm not complaining, and to be completely honest, the whole aspect of fights being serious with Luffy, it didn't go away. It's just adding another level, another layer to what the conflict is about. Last but not least, I would like to end with Lucci versus Zoro, and how Lucci at the start of the arc, I do not consider Straw Hat as a Yonko, and now he's like taking down the second in command of a Yonko crew is very noteworthy. So, dude, what the hell? Like, you're changing your mind like in a split second. So, okay, I don't really blame him. He understands the fact that, yeah, Luffy's no match, like, Luffy's way above him at this point. But it also goes to show that, yeah, this arc, overall, the theme of this entire arc, as mentioned by many other theorists, is that Luffy will have, the Straw Hats will have an easy victory, or will have a definitive victory in order to establish themselves as an emperor. This is not a stage where Luffy can lose. This is not a stage where the Straw Hats can lose against the Marines immediately after getting their title of Emperor, and then they're thrown on the rug and then they get another training arc or whatever. So overall, I think this fight will last for a long time, and I have yet to see the way this fight is going to end. But thus far, things are getting interesting, things are getting heated up. There is a constant back and forth with the pacifistas. I like to see more of that as well. That's it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day, and peace.